So you reckon that Jagex is gassing themselves up with this Desert Treasure 2 content here so this is basically a video of them, it's a dev diary, right? They're going to talk about Desert Treasure, we're going to see what they have to say, do a bit of theory crafting, and then conclude our opinions. If you want to debate with me, you can go to in the comment section down below, or in the chat now while you're here live, say hi to YouTube. Let's see what we got. Let me know if the volume's too quiet and we'll have a look. You thought it was pretty cool? Let's find out. I'll let you know if I think the same. It's probably also worth mentioning before going in, for those who don't understand my credentials, I was going to test, I was going to actually beta test the bosses for this quest, but due to scheduling conflicts, I wasn't actually able to make it. Same thing happened with Raids 3, so it's unfortunate on my end. I've not been able to actually experience this opportunity, but yeah, I was able to, I would have been able to go and do some testing for these bosses and have a better insight, but I couldn't share that information if I did, unfortunately. So that also means we can have this discussion today because I didn't do that. So just so we know where we're sitting when you start to hear my opinions and wonder why I should, or why people should give a bit of shit about what I say.
Over the last few years, Old School has come a long way when it comes to storytelling. We've now continued multiple iconic storylines from back in the days when Old School was just RuneScape.
That's true, but they've also ignored a lot of storylines, which I think they should just stop the Dwarf storyline anyway. I think that one sucks, but there's a lot of storylines that have come to a halt. Sea Slug, Slug Menace, when are we going to get the third part of that? I'd love to see that, please.
I think it's fair to say the biggest storyline, the one that has always been the most loved, is the Margaret storyline. And this year, it was finally time to start continuing that storyline. Now, we're going big with Desert Treasure 2.
Which we had Beneath Cursed Sands, but I don't think Beneath Cursed Sands is a prerequisite for Desert Treasure 2. Sorry, if you just let me check real quick. Desert Treasure 2. Oh, okay, here we go. A prerequisite, I don't think is Beneath Cursed Sands, so I don't think they're actually necessarily linked. It might not even be linked to TOA at all. But I don't really follow the storyline. I don't read the quest dialogue because I don't really care for it. It's a waste of my time. So I don't see anything on here to do with Beneath Cursed Sands, so I'm not sure. It's Secrets of the North, yes, but I mean, it's also Cold War, which is Penguins, so who knows. There's Curse of the Empty Lord, which was for Beneath Cursed Sand, I believe. But there is Temple of the Eye as well, so it might have something to do. I think someone said there was a link between Guardians of the Rift and that, so yeah, I'm not sure on the storyline. I don't really know much about the lore. I asked you guys for it, and I get fed false information, so who knows. That's very loud. Love the graphics.
Desert Treasure was such an iconic quest for so many reasons. Obviously, you've got the 4 bosses, but then probably the big one being the rewards themselves, unlocking ancient magics.
Yes.
I imagine a lot of people sort of have very distinct memories of the first time they used ancient magics.
Yeah, PTSD.
I remember completing the quest. I remember really struggling with a lot of the individual bosses. Obviously, my account probably wasn't very good back then. I remember really hating the pyramid, getting lost in there and getting booted out constantly. All of those emotions like ingrained into me.
One of the things that actually I do very distinctly remember was weirdly the ice section. Like it just sticks out to me because there was this real feeling of exploring something, discovering something that has never been discovered before. It's feelings like that, but that was one of the things
it sticks out to me, the ice section, because it was annoying. You're losing stats, you have no run energy, it was just tedious and there was nothing you could do about it. That's why it sticks out to me, personally. It was annoying and I hated it. And I don't want to experience it again in Desert Treasure 2. Please don't give us this. Let us run in the snow, for the love of God.
To capture Desert Treasure 2.
It's not invigorating, it's annoying.
In many ways, but you've got this treasure in the desert and you're hunting down these new bosses in these new areas to uncover whatever is hidden there. Better not spoil it.
I'll go through it in a sec, just in case I cover it.
Was figuring out who would actually be on the project, and then we got everyone into the office. And we basically just had whiteboards around, we had like the individual areas where we're like, okay, we want to have an area in this section of the continent, we want to expand this area, there'll probably be a boss in this area, and then we just go deep on it.
It's like taking on a bit of a Sorosian direction, which is, we haven't really established what that looks like yet until now. We're taking inspiration from The 4 crystals in Desert Treasure 1, which is a blood, ice, shadow, and smoke, and kind of theming it around that in the environments as well. So it kind of has some context, because in Desert Treasure 1 you kind of fight these random dudes just in an area, and it doesn't really have a lot of context and correlation to each other. So we're trying to like make that a bit more exciting, give some context and environmental storytelling with the characters as well, the bosses, and kind of make it seem a bit more exciting that way.
We knew pretty much straight away that we're doing Desert Treasure 2. Desert Treasure 1, it was all about those 4 bosses.
It was originally just Desert Treasure, right? It wasn't Desert Treasure 1, it was just Desert Treasure until they announced this. I think it's also worth mentioning that when you see trailers like this, any sort of concept, when Zora came out, they had someone fighting Zora with a whip. And when Warcraft came out, they had someone maging Warcraft. So when you see trailers and content for like bosses in this, and you see someone using full bronze G and a massive purple dildo from Saints Row 3 to try and fight a boss, that's not going to be what you're doing at all. That's not going to be the core concept. So don't go panic buying shit on the Great Exchange, because merchers and flipping clans will have a field day with you and your stupidity. So don't take the bait, okay? If it's in the trailer, it's probably not even true. Assume the opposite. Well, just assume if it's a dragon, you can't mage it, because you can't really mage dragons beyond like blue, right? Or just don't, if it's a Zora, if it's a snake in the fucking pool of lava or pool of acid in a swamp, you're not really going to be able to melee it, are you? Thank you, Mind Goblin, I appreciate that.
Here, there's going to be 4 new bosses that you'll fight both during the quest and they'll be available after the quest itself, and they need to be something really special. They need to feel like something we've never really done before, bossing-wise.
Which is crazy, because what can you think of?
Desert Treasure 2 is introducing 4 brand new bosses. That's why the JMOs do a good job. This is the most bosses we've released in a single update since the original God Wars dungeon.
I've been working on a lot of the concept art of the bosses, so I've been in charge of designing what they look like. Some of the designs are a bit grim and dark, and we try to balance that out with some like funnier designs as well, but still grim, keeping that undertone of like it's a serious quest and it should be a serious boss kind of thing. But
I think they do a good job with their
designs. I can kind of do what I want with it. We've established a visual design for most of the areas and kind of gone along those kind of beats.
We had various player playtests where we got people in to basically play the content early on.
So we had 6 people come in for 2 days of just non-stop bossing, a whole bunch of feedback. We had a while to implement it, so we've had them all back. They're going to have more feedback, and this is kind of our last chance to really like fine-tune them and make them as perfect as they can be before everybody gets to play them.
So we had the pleasure of being invited as content creators and as players to play test the Desert Treasure 2 bosses.
Very
appreciative to be able to get a first look at the bosses, give some feedback, and just overall be really excited for the release of Desert Treasure 2.
So we'll sit down with each boss, we'll do one boss at a time.
King should be a playtester. I was going to be a playtester, but yeah, I had a scheduling conflict. That's what I said at the start of the video, so I was unable to make it. Same thing happened with TOA, which sucks. Hopefully, with future content playtesting, I'm able to actually not have conflicting schedules and go and do that sort of stuff. Kind of starts looking the most right, not one. So it kind of starts looking the most right one, not gonna lie. I didn't notice it. What did it look like? Ian as a clown. Yeah, I haven't got a very good opinion of Ian ever since, you know, because of recent drama, but that's just my personal opinion.
One boss this morning.
It's a solid mission with his incredibly long neck.
In a nice little circle, give some feedback, good points, bad points.
He always does playtesting. He does a good job.
And we're thinking about all sorts of players, so really good players, really bad players, trying to make an experience that's fun for everybody.
We've got some insanely good PVMers, some really good all-rounders, some people who are probably more known for skilling, like a bunch of players from kind of like different, I'll say walks of life. It feels a bit grandiose, you know, people that enjoy different things about the game. One of the best parts of the job, I think, is super validating, really rewarding to get to hang out with players, see them enjoying content live. I think they're going to exceed a lot of people's expectations. I think they're way better than people are expecting them to be.
I think playtesting with the community is a really good idea.
Than we're used to seeing from a quest
Yes,
box.
it'd be NDA, yes.
So from Desert Treasure 2, there's going to be a series of new rewards. One of them is a Virtus armor set, whopping 12% ancient magic strength bonus.
Yeah, that's
Another
massive.
reward is an upgrade to your ancient scepter. So for those that have Secrets of the North.
So I think the Virtus robes, because it's a 12% magic damage bonus for ancient magics, but 3% magic with the whole set, 3% magic damage on everything else, right? Which is half of what Ancestral gives. So I think for the most part, it looks like Ancestral is only really going to be sought after if you've got a shadow. If you don't have a shadow, you may as well stick to the Virtus robes, because the difference between Ancestral and Virtus is you're going to be tankier. Similar major fence stats, and with the same stuff, you're going to be sweet. And for bursting, it's going to be awesome. PvP, it's going to be amazing. Theater of Blood, Inferno, God Wars Dungeon, anywhere you're using Ancients, it's going to be great. Even TOA, I know a lot of people say take Thralls into TOA, but the worst part about Thralls is remembering to use them, right? A lot of people take Ancients because it's more comfortable. No one cares about DPS if you're not speedrunning. Fuck the Thralls off. Take the Ancients because it's more comfortable. You actually remember to use it. You're going to benefit a lot more from this as well until you get a Shadow. They should have got Joff Straff Hayes to playtest them. He playtests RS3 content. I know that. He did Necromancy playtesting. He would be really good to playtest old school RuneScape stuff, especially since he's playing it a lot more recently. So maybe one day. But I think playtesting with content creators is a really good way to go about it. Soul Mission looks like the bastards from Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Fair. Ancestral is going to tank. I don't think Ancestral is going to tank because the meta is still going to be Ancestral. You're still going to want it with the Shadow at the end game, which is where a lot of people is doing content. And if the Shadow is going to fucking like pop off on these bosses, which it should on one, then Ancestral is still going to be the gear that you want. It'll probably lose a bit of value, but I don't think it'll be a dramatic loss for sure. Even for Sayatas too, these new robes are better. Yeah, it's likely if you're bursting for sure. He did Necromancy for the new player experience side. Yes, he did. Yeah, he did. Josh Straff Hayes. And yeah, they do get you to sign an NDA when you do this stuff.
Upgrade your Ancient Staff into an Ancient Scepter, giving it 5% Ancient Magic Strength bonus and a variety of other effects. From this quest, you're going to be able to get gems you can be able to put into your Ancient Scepter to specifically boost individual elements, whether that's blood, ice, smoke, or shadow. An additional reward we're offering.
No, don't sell your Ancestral. No.
So this is a new axe.
Just grind out the verses, man.
With one fragment from each boss to make it a gigantic new two-handed axe. There's 5-tick attack speed and has a unique effect.
5-tick attack speed is huge.
Whilst also being able to heal you. And last but not least, we've got the upgrade to the fabled Fremnik rings. So no longer will you have your +8 strength Berserker ring, you're now going to be able to get +12 strength in one ring slot.
This is a spicy take a lot of people don't like hearing, but I think the Dagannoth King rings, the Fremnik rings, have been dead content since the Zenart Jewelry came out. Ever since the Suffering entered the game, and now especially the Lightbearer, there was absolutely no need to be wearing Fremnik rings at all, especially the Archer's ring. That one is so weird that it's expensive. It's such a copium like mindset. Berserker ring had a say. There was some value for the Berserker ring, but outside of that, absolutely not. No. Is my stream right? It is. So these upgrades are going to be big. Are they going to be worth it? I think they're going to be worth it provided you bring ring switches, which aren't really worth doing at the moment. It's still going to be situational. You're going to, if you're taking a spec weapon and you're using the spec weapon every time you can, the Lightbearer is still going to hold like the most value in combat, right? Like, otherwise it's not going to be worth it because you got to wear the Lightbearer to get your spec bar back. If you're purely just maging, then sure, the mage ring. If you're purely just ranging, then yes, the archer's ring. The slash ring is +20 slash and 6 strength. People are saying that's going to be busted. I don't think so. Mike's cutting out? I hope not. I don't think it's going to be busted. Not as much as the crush ring, but... Oh, sorry, the strength ring, but who knows? That's losing the crush defense bonus. Is my mic cutting out, or are we good? Because I can fix it if not, before I continue playing the video. You haven't got the Berserker ring yet, so I don't mind skipping. Yeah, I've got one. The mic's good? Okay, cool, thanks. You can get the new ring. You need the new rings to make these rings anyway. I got a Berserker ring on the hardcore instead of a Dragon Axe, unfortunately, but still cool to have. Suffering is ride or die for me. Yeah, until you get Lightbearer.
This is by no means a finale. There is more to come in the Marjarat's storyline, but this is definitely this is the point where things change for storytelling in Old School with this quest, and you do not want to miss what is about to happen.
4 new areas, 4 new bosses, all at the same time, tying together 4 dangling threads that most people probably felt were separate storylines into like a huge thread. Desert Treasure 2's scope is just unmatched in my opinion. It's bigger than Song of the Elves, it's bigger than Dragon Slayer 2, it's bigger than Monkey Madness 2.
That's big. If it's bigger than Song of the Elves and Dragon Slayer 2 and Monkey Madness 2, then that's, you know, I think well, Dragon Slayer 2 and Song of the Elves are probably competitive for the 2 endgame quests. Monkey Madness 2 maybe, but not as much as the other 2. So if it's bigger than those 2 quests, then that's good, more fun.
Let us know what you think when you get to see the bosses and the areas and
I'm
explore
sure they can
it. We put a lot of detail into it and a lot of thought and love into it, so just like check it out.
Please let us know your feedback. We'll see you soon.
26th of July, that's happening in 10 days. It's coming to the game. Desert Treasure 2. beautiful. I'm gonna absolutely do that quest straight away. I'm not gonna stream the quest, I don't think. Maybe I will stream it. I don't know yet. I haven't decided, but I'll do the boss guides on release. So you'll have boss guides on the 4 bosses on day of release as soon as I can get them out. That's for sure. I don't really know what to say otherwise, because it's hard when this is all that you're given, but I think this is plenty of information. I think they do a good job of designing. I think what's going to happen, this is just my opinion, okay, don't take this as law, don't go buying things on the Grand Exchange. I think that, especially for the endgame bosses, they are going to do harder versions for Blood Torva. Have you guys seen the Blood Torva stuff yet? Which I believe they put on the website. They're going to bring out some harder bosses, or harder versions of the bosses, sorry, for, where is it? Here, I believe. There, yeah, the Blood Torva setup, and they've changed the way it looks too, which is awesome. So it's going to be like a harder version of the bosses, which is meant to be on par with things like the Inferno when it comes to difficulty doing the bosses, which I think is cool. I think it looks great. There was a concept as well on Twitter, if I can find it, someone did, of having Blood Torva, but also Ice Torva, Shadow Torva, and Smoke Torva, which I think is even cooler, because that means that you have so much more variety. Sure, it probably means that there's a lot more shit being added to the game, but at the same time, that also means there's a lot more. I can't remember who did the design now. It was. Where are you? I think it was Sofan that did it. Yeah, here, this design here, which I think looks sick. Just means there's more variety as well, which looks awesome. Like, don't they look good? I think they look great. Blood Torva, Ice Torva, different gems, Ice Demon, Shadow Worm, and then Smoke. Like, why not? You could have more variety, and then it will coincide with all the bosses. I think it'd be awesome. Whether Jagex wants to do that, it's probably a bit too late to add that, but it's definitely something they can do later on. Very good idea. That's his Twitter pictures there if you want to have another look at it and have a look. But yeah, that's I think that is the right direction to take Torva. It looks way better, because Torva looks like shit, let's be honest. The helmet especially is garbage. That's the original design they wanted to swap to. They want to change the actual design currently, because it looks kind of... I don't think it looks very good, personally. So they're actually changing the way the design is as well. So the helmet looks actually better as well, and the armor design. So I think that's really good that they're visiting that. People are questioning why looking at Torva when you get Torva from Next, but Next is the same god, like Zerosian. That's the same god as what Desert Treasure is about, right? This is Zerosian god. Zerosian storyline, so it does make sense. I think that's a good idea. Jagex taking it in the right direction. Design looks great. I think, personally, in my opinion, T-Bow, Shadow, Cypher are going to be 3 mandatory items for meta. Is the mic going in and out again? It shouldn't be. That's just you, Rebel, I think. I hope not. But I think that... Let me reset just in case. Sounds good to me? Yeah, no, it's just you, Rebel. I think... You're going to need the three titans from raids for these bosses, for the meta. And I'm hoping that they bring back the use of a Dragon Warhammer, because that will bring its value back up a bit. Oh, excuse me. Because the Dragon Warhammer's price tanked because of TOA. So, could it bring it back, which would also mean Inquisitors comes back too? I hope so. I really hope that's where they're looking. But that's my opinion. I'm not going to obviously invest in anything. I don't do that because that's a waste of my time, a waste of my money, and I don't think you should do it either. But that's my opinion. That's where I think that content is going to head. Yeah, prepare for the quest. You got 10 days. I will probably stream it. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I'll try to stream it and then also do the bosses as well, but we'll see how we go. Dragon Hunter Crossbow for the Sea Dragon boss. I don't think there's going to be a Sea Dragon boss. I couldn't tell you. What do you think about the cost of each attempt at the Awakened boss? What's the cost of each attempt? Is there a cost? Did they say that? I'm not going to lie, I haven't really looked at the blog because reading sucks, but is that something that they've done? That they said? It's in the blog post? Really? Awakened bosses? What's it going to cost? Cost to attempt instead of costing to die would be actually pretty funny and fair. Some kind of token. It's the one with the Torva redesign. Oh, okay, hold on. The Torva redesign, which is here. Some kind of token. Okay, how do you get the token? Is that just for the harder bosses though? Drop from normal bosses, which is okay. So you drop from normal bosses, which is tradable on the Grand Exchange, and then you can use that to try the harder bosses for the Blood Torva. Okay, well that's good then. Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. That's awesome. That means people can't just go and send it. It's going to cost them money to be able to send the big boss. Depending on how much the token costs in the Grand Exchange, it should be, yeah, you should be able to trade it, because otherwise it's going to be tedious, and then the smaller bosses will be farmed harder, which means the prices of drop table is going to be tanked more. I hope they don't do what they did with the Muspar and Vorkaf and Zora and just absolutely give us a fucked drop table, because that's going to be a pain in the ass to deal with. Again, like, so many things tank on the Grand Exchange, so many little items that don't need to be tanked. They shouldn't be big money. They should be like the Fasani Nightmare, or even better, like Fasani Nightmare and Cowfight Queen in one. Have a consumable and a normal drop table that isn't like ridiculous. 2 drops per kill. One's always consumable, the other one's a normal roll, plus you can get a unique. I think that's way better. Only for the Awakened hard mode, yeah, that's cool. I do think it's a bit sad that the Awakened boss is pretty much a one-time fight and they won't be efficient to farm. Well, if you're only doing it for the Blood Torva, why would you need to farm it, right? Is it what? You get the kill, you get the Blood Torva, that's it? One time, is that what you mean? Like an Infernal Cape? You just have to kill it once, that's it? Mod Goblin said on Reddit they took inspiration from Path of Exile, especially since quite a few of the mods are players. Yeah, that's fair enough. That's awesome. Mod Goblin's pretty smart, he does a good job. Can you look into the Slayer enchantments on your next GE bit? Something weird is going on with them? Sure. Multi is still resin slot, of course. Does it go for the Dragon Boots as well, or like Prims? You can get Blood Torva. They said they will have the higher drop rates, but won't be efficient to farm for your next. Well, that's good. That's good. Well, that's really my opinion on the whole setup. I think the new Torva looks amazing. I think going to this setup is awesome. I think Blood Torva looks great. I would love to see the other 3 concepts as well from Twitter. I would love to see what these bosses have in store for us. I don't have any Torva on the game yet, but I'm happy to try and farm them anyway to see what happens. You have to kill all 4 Awakened versions to have the Blood Torva. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all. Like, it'd be one of each piece. If they can change it so you have to farm the Blood boss for the Blood Torva, Ice boss for Ice Torva, maybe they could do that in the future, but that's a concept that's, you know, probably a bit too late to bring to the game, but it's pretty smart. It's a bit sad. Should be better gold per hour to farm the harder bosses than normal ones, in my opinion. Well, I don't think it matters, right? At the end of the day, you're going to get a shit ton of gold per hour from the normal bosses. The water's more valuable than the GP to some? Yeah, of course. What do you mean? It's 3.7k of years? What do you mean? Oh, for the Slam Champions. Oh, yeah, no, I don't know. I'll check it out later. Yeah, that's pretty much everything I've got to say. I think. Looks good. Keen for Desert Treasure. I hope you guys are too. I probably will stream it. Thinking about it now. I wasn't going to, but thinking about it more and more and talking about it, yeah, I think I might. Looks pretty hype. Looks like it'll be good fun. I'll be streaming it right here, by the way, on this channel for those who are unaware. On release, so mark the date. You don't want to watch any other streamer because, well, if you want to see it done properly, done right the first time, you want to see it done on my stream. Because I know there's Wooks, but when A Kingdom Divided came out, alright, Wooks died on the first boss. I didn't, okay? I didn't die. I don't die. So, you want to watch it done properly, you come to this fucking channel here, you watch me do it. 100%. Let's get back to the hardcore because my Cowfight task is done. This is the easiest room in the raid. It's quite simple. You got a big boy. Look at him. God damn. Fuck me. Look at that boy.